That's my secret, Dr. Wily. I'm always angry. Seriously, I'm sculpted this way. Help me! Action 66 is a line of toys out of Japan featuring tiny little Kamen Riders that still have really good detail and articulation in a way that only Japan can seem to manage to do. And I went, oh, that's very nice, Bandai, but I went through that with Motion Revive, so I don't really need these in my life. And then Bandai asked me, well, what if we do Mega Man figures and we cover multiple generations of Mega Man, and why are you throwing so much money in our face? Please stop that. So yeah, we are here with the first, hopefully the first series of Action 66 Mega Man figures, spanning 4 different series, and we will get to all of them, but we start, of course, with the classic. Now, for starters, these things are dinky. These things are considerably tiny, at less than 3 inches tall. When I show you what these things are all about, please keep that in mind, that these are very, very tiny little action figures. So, we have the traditional, the classic, the original Mega Man. He's not happy. I will get it out of the way right now. The part of this toy line I don't like so far is the sculpt on Mega Man's face. I mean, tamper-graphed eyes and all that works pretty well. And hey, for its size, the paint ain't bad either. I mean, it's a little bit sloppy in the edges, but these things are quite tiny, and they're still candy toys after all. But that grimace just does not work. I very rarely see Mega Man looking like that on the occasional box art or an action pose, but most of the time, no, not really. This doesn't seem to suit him very well, and I don't like that it's like the permanent expression you get. Like, there's no alternate here. So what you're seeing here is mostly cast in the light blue, with some of the parts cast in a skin tone type beige color. And that's pretty much what you're going to get in detail on all of these guys. You know, you expect that the light blue or whatever the base color is to be the actual plastic color all around. That said, it does mean this comes up looking pretty solid. You know, just pretty uniform all around. You can see where the arms kind of extend up the elbow paint-wise, kind of blending into the arm a little bit. Little details like the power indicator on the buster as well as the red barrel. They pretty much got in everything they needed to. Then again, Mega Man is a pretty simple design, so pretty much everything should be accounted for. That's how it should go. Now, all of these pretty much have the same range of articulation, meaning I can show you at one time, and we don't have to spend like most of this review covering each and every point of articulation on every single one of these. So we have a ball-jointed head, which works out pretty nicely. Full range of motion, a little bit of up and down as well, because it's a pretty tall stem. You have ball joints here at the shoulders, which work pretty well. Full range. Sit a little bit low, but it's really only a problem on the original Mega Man. You have a bicep rotation that is just a peg held in there, so it is easy to dislodge the arm if you're not careful. A elbow joint on both sides that gets to a 90-degree bend. One wrist rotation, which is usually here on the left, and it's a very tight one on most of these, to the point I really don't like using it. You'll find out why once we get through all of these. A waist joint. Now, this kind of varies. If the toy has armor, then it's above, just below where the armor ends. And then if it is no armor, then it's at the waist here. Either way, you get a ball joint at the waist, which provides rocking, tilting, and most importantly, rotating. Thigh joint works pretty well. Again, tiny little ball joint. Does seem to work. And then a 90-degree bend at the knee and a full range ball joint here in the foot. And there's plenty of clearance, so you get back and forth, tilt, and everything for any kind of balance you should need. Articulation-wise, these are quite impressive for their size. The only thing I'm really missing on any of these is thigh swivel. None of them actually swivel at the thigh, which means a few poses that I would like to get him into isn't quite going to happen. The ball joint at the hip does allow some level of leg rotation, but it's not quite enough for some of the more strenuous action poses I could think of. But for the most part, yeah, this is exceptionally well designed and exceptionally good articulation for something so tiny. Now, all of these also come with an additional accessory. Sometimes they can interact with it, usually they can't. And in Mega Man's case, he gets this tiny little one-piece E-Tank with no paint on it whatsoever. To the point where you can barely make out that E molded in. This is kind of unusual because it's not the right color and it's translucent, and the reason why will become evident as we continue on, but it is an appropriate prop for him. He can't actually hold it, but it is an appropriate prop. So we're going to set him back here and move on to the next in the line, Mega Man X. My personal favorite Mega Man. Now this one, pretty much the same story as far as articulation goes. You can see much more detailed design, much more things going on, and they didn't really skimp out because of it. Everything's still pretty much included. Looking at his face, Mega Man X, I expect a stern expression. The leader of the Maverick Hunters definitely is the more serious type, and definitely a little bit more stern in appearance. This works. Face sculpt is fine. Again, it's really only Mega Man that I took issue. And again, all the paint is clean for its size, and everything included detail-wise. It's all there. Exceptionally well done. Really like this. He does have this weird thing where they tried to get those little black parts that connect all of his limbs, and unfortunately that means a little bit of weirdness going on in the elbow. It doesn't quite bend in the same spot as Mega Man, and the paint gets a little bit awkward, but it's not too bad. Little things for the size that you have to account for. Again, Buster on the right arm, since Mega Man is traditionally a lefty. Ball joint is in the torso this time, since he does have armor. And everything else pretty much has the same rotation and motion and all the range that Mega Man had. That even does include the arms, even though he does have shoulder armor now. Maybe a little bit more restricted, but it all works. And he looks really, really good at this size. He makes such a good, tiny little desk-sized Mega Man X for all of your Maverick busting needs. So, accessory-wise, he comes with this little piece, which is a dash effect, because he does have enough range in him to actually get a decent looking dash pose going if you want, and that works to hang on, if I can actually get him into the pose without him balance issues. There we go. So you do get a little bit of a dash effect going on. It's a little bit underwhelming. Part of me kind of wishes he had like the beam saber from X5 or something of that nature. I don't know. No, it's effect part is cool, but everything else seems to add accessory or add like a little companion, and this is just like a big like little dash of energy. And this is the reason why the E-Tank seems to be a shade of green when you'd expect light blue, because that's traditionally what the special effects for Mega Man X are colored on for these toys. So whatever turns out this weird shade of green, it's his fault. So he goes to the back, and we move on to the reason I ordered these in the first place. Mega Man Volnut from Mega Man Legends. I'm going to hazard my second favorite of the Mega Man. I love me some classic, but man, Legends never got enough love and attention. I still am bitter over number 3. So, looking at him, even more complex in detail now. You got a lot of little rivets and lines molded in, all those squared off details, which that's what PlayStation 1 graphics is limited to sometimes, but it does work for his unique aesthetic. Everything included, everything looking really good. Even got those little bolt things on the shoulders. Very nice. And of course, very human in the face. Ears, everything sculpted. Nice that they actually got the hair to work pretty well here. Now on him, I kind of wish I could have swapped the hair out for like a helmet. He does not have that accessory option, unfortunately. He has his Buster on his left hand, since he is the righty of the Mega Men. All around, I love this thing. He also seems to go closer to the Legends 2 design with the orange backpack, or Legends 3, Capcom. Not that I just said I'm bitter, so why am I denying it? I'm bitter. Very bitter. So again, he holds all the same level of articulation, works really well. There's something about his design in particular that kind of makes any kind of weirdness in the joints kind of work, and I think that's just because He's naturally designed to look broken up to more accommodate the limits of the PlayStation hardware. So that actually works out in favor of his little tiny action figure here. So very, very nice. This is probably one of the better done figures in this set. And he comes with probably the most appropriate thing he could come with is a tiny little Servbot. Now, thankfully, he is not in that translucent green. He's in translucent yellow, and he's fully detailed. He's having a bad day. Miss Tron is not pleased. Yeah, he's very nicely detailed, very nicely sculpted for like a little one-piece thing. I wish it was in opaque yellow, so this would be easy to paint up into a proper Servbot, because I love me some Servbots. There's fan art of me out there as a Servbot somewhere, and I absolutely love it. So I might give a swing at painting this guy up at some point if I really feel like, dousing the entire thing in yellow. It's also strange because it's the only part in this entire series that's molded in the yellow, so I have no idea why it's still translucent. Oh well, moving on. Mega Man EXE from Battle Network. This is not one of my personal favorite Mega Man. I kind of got bored of the playstyle in these types of games, but they still worked out for the most part. I remember enjoying them when they first came out. I think they just got a little bit tired is all. So again, we are dealing with even more paint apps going on here. A lot more yellow and red, a lot more little things with those little light blue lines and details. But it's all still represented pretty well here. And again, nice face sculpt. Digging it. All the different shades of blue in the helmet accounted for. His little tuft of hair in the back is there. Pretty much all things I would want out of a tiny little Mega Man Legends. And guess what? He holds together a little bit better than my 4-inch Nell. At the very least, all the joints are much tighter, so that's saying something. Again, same level of articulation. He does have a little bit of strangeness in his biceps since he has those shoulder guards that are painted from one to the other. But it's not too bad. It's kind of hard to notice unless a reviewer points it out on YouTube. He also has a weird thing about the elbow where he actually has a two-piece elbow that splits like so instead of having like the proper hinge thing that the others have, which means he's a little bit more susceptible to that falling apart, which is kind of unfortunate. On the other hand, he comes with some of the better accessory parts because you can actually... Well, there's those pegs in the biceps I told you about. You can actually remove his buster and swap on a beam sword as his traditional and iconic weapon from Mega Man EXE. And of course, if you're going to include an accessory with him, it has to be this. It absolutely has to be. Only problem, it's a very thin little piece, and what I haven't mentioned is all of this translucent green stuff is made of a very soft PVC, which means in that little baggie, it tends to kind of get bent up like that. So that's really unfortunate. Yeah, get some hot water ready when you get yours in. Get that straightened up as soon as possible. But I'm glad he comes with it because, hey, what else would he come with? Should be nothing else. So that really only leaves the mystery figure. Now, if you're looking for an assortment of these things, I will tell you that it is 2 of him, 2 of him, 2 of him, 3 of him, and only one of the bonus figure, which in this case is a Rush-equipped Mega Man. Of course it would be another Mega Man. You'd be amazed. Like, you'd think this whole line would just be Mega Man recolors, but nope. Just this guy with lots of, like, an off-white, very slightly pink plastic that's been painted over in the red. A little bit more inconsistent. The red on the these exposed painted parts doesn't seem to match up with his arms the way it did before, so it's a little bit more distracting and for some reason a little bit sloppier on mine. It's not terribly distracting though. It's not a really bad job or anything. This is a pretty appropriate idea for a bonus piece. Oh, and before I forget, because I did leave it out, your EXE, those also come with a foot stand with a little peg that holds up his sword when it's not in use. Useful! I guess they just had some parts left over, and he has small feet, so it's a little bit hard for him to stand up. So, yeah, we have a little red Mega Man, still angry expression, which makes even less sense when he's using Rush, because he's rarely attacking with Rush. So, that means his little accessory figure is a tiny little Rush. And again, like, why is it in clear plastic? I don't understand. But yeah, it's a dinky little rush. All the details are there. It's pretty well done for a bonus item. And at least you have the tamper-craft eyes in there, so he does have some kind of expression. See, this is kind of where I start to wonder selection on some of these, because like if you're using the yellow over here for the serve bot, I kind of wanted a little Met for the original Mega Man to come with. You know, since we're doing little companion figures. And I thought he'd be a little bit smaller than that, but he actually comes close to being the right size. Still a little tiny, but no, it kind of works. I mean, let's see. Nope. No, I'm pretty sure that's breaking his spine. Kids, don't jump on your dog's backs. They aren't equipped with springs. And even if you put a spring on there, don't jump on their backs. So that's pretty much the entire wave of Action 66 Mega Man figures, all the little accessories they come with, except for one thing I left out, which is a whole array of splayed open hands. Every single one of them has a splayed open hand you can swap their extra hand with. Just for you, I don't know. They are very tiny, they are difficult to get on and off, and I've neglected to actually include them because, they're really only good for the occasional action pose. I don't know, it seems like a waste. I would have preferred to go into, painting Rush and the Serve Bot. But it is options, and it is Japan, so even tiny little action figures like this in Japan tend to get swappable hands of some sort. So it's just what you'd expect. If you're looking into these, I'm very impressed by what I see. The sculpting is really nice, the paint detail for their size is really good, articulation is very nice. I can see myself keeping these on my desk for quite a long time. And hey, until the 4-inch nail comes out, and until Figuarts gets their act together and realizes the cash cow waiting, it's about the only Mega Man Legends figure on the market right now. So, grab, enjoy. These things are a lot of fun.